It's a movie that stars two of my favorite characters from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and a wrestler from Raw. We saw Money Plane, so you know what that means.
Now it's time for How Did This Get Made? We're gonna have a good time, celebrate some failure, not just be a hater. Cause you know you wonder, how did this get made? Let's wallow in the mediocrity of subpar art. Perhaps we'll find the answer to the question, how did this get made?
Hello, people of Earth, and welcome to How Did This Get Made? I am Tall John Shear. Boy, oh boy, we are doing another quarantine episode, and what an episode we have in store for you today. It is the brand new release. I'm talking 2020. I'm talking 2 weeks ago this film came out. It is called Money Plane, and it has some pretty big stars, even if they're not on screen for a lot of time. We have in here Thomas Jane. We have Denise Richards. We also have Kelsey Grammer as an amazing villain in this film. And what do you need to know? Well, basically, a group of thieves have to do an impossible heist, which is rob the money plane where anything goes. But can they do it? Because maybe not everything is as it appears. To break this down today, we have with me my two co-hosts. Please welcome Jason Mantzoukas.
Money Plane!
Money Plane!
Money Plane!
Money Plane may be my new Geostorm.
This has real Geostorm potential to just scream Money Plane. I mean, this was... I can't wait to get into this. I don't understand... I believe there are 11 people in this movie.
Yes.
And that this movie looks like it's a terrible, this movie looks worse than NCIS Cyber. It is like, or whatever that show. Like this was wild to watch. Like how little was happening. How many times, this movie presumes its audience is so stupid, it recaps the movie every 10 minutes. They recap what they're doing and where. I'm like, we got to get into it. But you said something in the beginning of this, in your intro, Paul, that blew my mind. Was the lead of this movie Thomas Jane?
Jason, save that thought because you're not alone in the confusion about Thomas Jane. Our other co-host also had a lot of Thomas Jane questions. Please welcome Miss June Diane Raphael. How are you, June?
I'm doing okay, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing well. June, why don't you tell Jason about our issue that we had about Thomas Jane last night?
So, Jason, it's so funny you say that because, let me actually back up a little bit. Paul, I didn't even tell you this last night, but as I was looking at my calendar to find out what movie we were watching, and I would look at Sunday night and I would just sort of glance over like, oh, Sunday night is when I have to watch the How Did This Get Made movie. And the title of the movie is usually in the little calendar reminder. And I think the last week and a half thought we were about to watch a movie called Monkey Planet.
By the way, if that movie exists, we are doing it next.
Chris Kattan in Monkey Planet.
I was dreading it. And then Paul started looking for it and he said, what's the name of the movie again? And I said, oh, it's Money Plane. And then I got really excited.
Yeah.
And this movie
because you like a plane movie.
Love a plane movie. Love a plane movie.
Oh,
Jason,
this is like right
this is one of the fundamental facts about myself.
Passenger 57 type of plane movie, like a thriller plane movie?
Oh, I mean, we've talked about this at length before,
yes.
But the stakes of movies on a plane to me are so much higher.
Did you say the stakes of the movie on the plane or the snakes?
No, she said the snakes.
Of the movie
Both.
Did you say the snakes of the movie on the plane? Okay,
the snakes and the stakes.
Oh, okay. Got to get those steaks, baby. Grill them up.
Sometimes the snakes are the stakes.
June, I remember one of our first
delicious.
early dates was seeing snakes on a plane together, right?
And it was so much fun. We were hissing at the screen.
Oh, the high stakes of your snake date.
But anyway, I really enjoyed watching this movie. When it started, we saw the credit come up for Thomas Jane. And I thought, oh, okay, this is interesting. When is he going to pop up? And we're watching and we're watching and we're watching. And then I paused it toward the very end. And I said, Paul, where is Thomas Jane? And he said, he's going to come up the third act surprise. And I thought, okay. And then I looked at the time and we had 5 minutes left.
Oh, that's wild. Yes.
Okay.
And then I said to June, wait a second, June. I think that Harry is Thomas Jane. And to which you're like, no. And we went on a deep Google dive to figure out, is that Thomas Jane? And lo and behold, it was Thomas Jane.
It was?
Yes!
What are you
That was Thomas
about?
Jane.
What? What
that
on earth is
person
happening?
is Thomas Jane.
That's Hung?
Yes!
Yes!
What? Okay, whoa.
Wait, so you didn't even know? You
never knew.
Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. A, I did not know Thomas Jane was in this movie until you just said so, okay? Like I didn't clock the cast list or anything. So as the movie began and the 4 title cards came up for companies I've never heard of, and then I basically started fast forwarding until I started seeing stuff. So I must have missed that Thomas Jane was in the movie. So then when you just said Thomas Jane, I was like, who was Thomas Jane? And then I instinctively thought, there must be another man whose name is Thomas Jane.
Well, I went through that thought process too when we had 5 minutes left.
And there was just a bit of confusion. Yes. But no, you're telling me that Harry, the guy who's like piloting the drone and playing video games with the daughter, that is Thomas Jane from Punisher, Thomas Jane from Magnolia, Boogie Nights rather.
Thomas Jane.
That is Thomas Jane. And if you look at him online, he is just aged. I don't think he's had any work done, but I did a deep dive of Google image searches. It is definitely Thomas Jane. He's just aged into this look. Which is incredibly different.
No, because you just say he's aged into this look and nothing else has happened. Like this is a natural progression. I disagree. Something happened.
See, he looks like a different person. Because I know what Thomas Jane looks like. You know what I mean? Like, and the character of Harry.
We all thought we did.
Was a face that I was like, because this movie is full of faces I didn't know.
You thought he was another face you didn't know.
I was like, I guess this was sold on Kelsey Grammer. And, that's the money. That's why there's only 11 talking roles and they shoot the whole movie on like, I don't know what I was picturing for Money Plane, but I was picturing something huge and opulent and like a full casino inside of a plane.
Decker.
Yes. No, I was picturing something like big, like the stakes were, like big. When he said you can bet on a man wrestling a crocodile, I was like, that's going to be on the plane. But instead the plane is like a small, like a 727 that can only fit one poker table.
And it's tight.
But by the way, for that 727, I was still lost about the geography of the plane. These people were bopping around this plane as if it had multiple levels, but I never understood where they were going. They would walk through curtain after curtain. I mean, this movie, I wasn't joking. It's a low budget movie, and they really make up for a lot of it by just putting a lot of different colored curtains to delineate different rooms. And at certain points, you're on a plane, but you're clearly not on a plane. You're just in a room. I mean, it is
a movie that is all broad strokes, and the curtains, the curtains might as well be like vault doors. Like if you pull the first class curtains shut, that means nobody can pass. You know what I mean? Like if they treat those curtains as if they are impermeable by other people. Like it is, I'm trying to think of a comp for Money Plane, like what I thought it was going to be. Like I thought it was going to be in the Kingsman Part 2 or Part 1 when they all go to when all the richest people go to the island to be like, we're going to be the people that survive the blah, blah, blah. And everything's open for business. I thought it was going to be that on a plane. And
no, they've put no money into the actual Money Plane.
I mean,
wait, just to go back to Thomas Jane for 1 second.
Oh, please.
Okay. because I really don't want to move off of him too quickly. So I know none of us recognized his face. And I'm not that familiar. Like, I maybe saw one episode of Hung. I'm not that familiar, but I do feel like I know him.
Well, he was also like around. He was given shots. He was in Arrested Development. He had a prominent role in Boogie Nights. He wasn't just like an also ran. He like was given real opportunity. He was the Punisher in a full installment.
So
I mean, he's a
I
big
did not
star.
recognize, I didn't recognize the way he looked, but I also didn't recognize the acting at all.
Yes.
I mean, and
I agree.
that's what was shocking too.
Well, it's hard to judge the acting because I believe that Kelsey Grammer, our star from Hung, Thomas Jane, and Denise Richards were all on set. Denise Richards on set for maybe an hour and 45 minutes.
Yes, she's done before lunch.
Kelsey Grammer, an afternoon or a morning. And I think that Thomas Jane put the most time in, probably at max day and a half.
I wonder if there's any Real Housewives of Beverly Hills footage of Denise Richards shooting her episode of Money Plane. I would love.
I think it was before, but there's another interesting Real Housewives of Beverly Hills crossover because, of course, Kelsey was also on season
one of the best.
Oh, that's right, because his
Camille Grammer,
right? Ex-wife was one of the. Okay, got it.
Ironically, he fell in love with a stewardess.
On a plane.
Holy shit.
Okay, want to know something even crazier? It is, I mean, I don't know if this is just like Bravo lore, but one of the first episodes of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills features Camille Grammer saying goodbye to Kelsey as he goes to New York to do a Broadway show. And then he leaves for New York and she starts the season filming. It is said to be true that on the flight to New York after he left her, that is when
allegedly.
he met.
We should say allegedly.
Yes.
Allegedly. We should, for very specific reasons.
This isn't
allegedly.
bitch sesh. We do not have the total clearance of the Bravo team behind us here.
He met his new wife, the flight attendant, on that flight.
I think that that's true, June. I think that is true.
Great.
I mean, and that's the heartbreak for those of us that are single during this pandemic. We're not able to get on planes and meet stewardesses readily, or flight attendants rather. It is not a that's the number one dating pool apparently, and it's I'm cut off from it.
Listen, I will say I did not appreciate hearing Kelsey Grammer curse during these difficult times.
Oh wait. But it wasn't Kelsey Grammer, June. It was June. It was Darius Emanuel Grouch the third. I want to say it again. Darius Emanuel Grouch the third is his name, and his nickname is.
I want to be clear.
Grumble.
The Rumple. He also has a nickname. By the way, his last name is Grouch. So his nickname is unquestionably the Grouch, right? Or Oscar the Grouch, or anything his nickname is Grouch. So why does he have a separate moniker that is the Rumple, and then a third moniker?
I thought it was I thought it was the Grumble.
I think it's the Rumble. The Rumble.
The Rumble. The Rumble?
What?
That's a weird
I heard it as the
name.
Rumble.
I heard it as like grumble, like I'm the grumbler.
I heard it as the Rumble. Ooh, now this is interesting. June, do you have a note on this by any chance? Did you hear it a specific?
I thought it was the Grumble.
Okay, so maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe
but I don't know. But I think it's also because Paul was repeating that, so I can't trust myself.
When he referred to himself as his last name was Grouch, and then said what I believe to be was the Rumple, I was like, okay, this is unquestionably like a work of pure genius, because I don't understand any of what's happening right now.
Darius Emanuel Grouch the third, better known as the Rumble. You owed a lot of money to some very bad people. I'm not just a businessman. I'm an opportunist. So I bought you debt. I own you. Now you're gonna have to repay me that debt. Those people would have killed you. I saved you, resurrected you from the ashes. Now, you have to be able to trust those who work for you. Can I trust you, Jack?
You know you don't have to ask me that. Can we just get to the job?
Good man, Jack.
It is one of the best reveals because this movie is led by three actors who aren't as quite well known as the other three actors that we talked about. We're talking about Adam Copeland, who plays Jack Reese. We're talking about Katrina Norman,
the bun man.
Yes,
he
the man with
man
the
bun?
Yes, man
Okay.
bun. We're talking about Katrina Norman, who plays Isabella.
Guys, before you continue, Paul, I just want to interrupt because we have crossed a very dangerous. I have crossed a very dangerous threshold during this pandemic because I now
I saw this, Jason. I saw that you had a man bun, and I was like, "Oh no, we can't talk about the man bun."
Too long.
Right now, do you have it in?
I know. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
I'm shocked.
I know it's not good.
Bring it a little closer to camera. I'm going to steal
Oh.
myself and take another look and put you on speaker
No,
view.
because you're trying to get a picture of it. You're going to
No,
post
I'm not.
out.
I
How
will
dare
not screen
you?
grab it. Just turn around one more time.
Can you see it?
Oh wow, Jason.
I saw it the
I
minute we
just
started
saw it.
recording. Oh,
I saw it.
My
I
hair is
saw
so
it.
long and it's so hot that I have to now put it up. It's crazy. I ordered hair ties last week. I was like,
wow.
I was like, pretty soon this is gonna get unruly. So
but by the way, even you ordering hair ties means that will come in about a day or two, but then you'll leave it out for a bit because you are being safe about you getting. So you're not even going to be able to get to
I was
this.
planning ahead. So yesterday was the first time I put my hair up. Anyway, I
Well,
didn't mean to interrupt.
Can we talk
Man
openly
bun.
about the man bun?
Yeah, how does it feel, Jason?
Well, I want to be very clear. I do not, neither do, okay, this is what happened. And I mean this, last night or yesterday afternoon, I took the now safe from the quarantine that I put them in. I also microwaved them. I took a hair tie and I put my hair up in a bun, at which point I blacked out. When I woke up, I had purchased deep V-neck t-shirts, turquoise jewelry, and a leather cuff. Something is wrong. Guys,
Jason,
the
I
bun
also wanna
is
say-
controlling me.
Jason, I have to also say, now that you've said this, it is interesting that in LA, at MoCA, there was a stealing of a very expensive painting. Were you behind that potentially?
I don't know, guys. I don't know. But let me be very clear. I have worries. I have worries that the bun has a mind of its own, that the bun is evil. You know?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I
It's a
bought a
mastermind.
large floppy felt hat. I'm not sure why.
Not spoiler alert, but when he does drop the bun in the final scene of the movie, it is another shocking look. I've been waiting for that bun
Can
to
I
drop.
ask, is that guy known in some
say
other
about him.
capacity? Is he
No.
a wrestler? Is he something?
Well, Adam
He's-
Copeland is a Canadian professional wrestler and actor.
Oh, he is a
currently
wrestler.
signed
Okay.
to the WWE, where he performs on the Raw brand under the ring name The Edge. And he is currently inactive due to an injury. But he was trained by wrestlers Sweet Daddy Siki and Ron Hutchinson.
Got it. Okay.
No, it's so tough. First of all, the entire team is just lifeless. I mean, so uninteresting.
like zero.
So zero going on behind the eyes. Like one's less charismatic than the next.
They have no banter. They have
nothing between them.
Their lines are all read so flat.
But the
that I am
craziest part of it, but the craziest part of it is that of the three, it is insane to believe that Man Bun is coordinating, strategizing, able to think through step A to step B, plan A to plan B, is able to use a computer. I mean, he is a Neanderthal.
I
And
mean,
that's
he is
fine,
supposed
but
to be like Jack Bauer, like a bad guy version of Jack Bauer, or James Bond or something. Like we're getting.
Well, he's
that vibe
also
from him.
like he's the team leader. So it's basically Kelsey Grammer has, the man bun is in debt to a number of people, and Kelsey Grammer has bought all of his collective debt and says, if you do one job for me, if you rob the money plane, by the way, the words money plane are said upwards of 30 times in the movie. The frequency with which someone says money plane, get to the money plane, I'm on the money plane, I want my money from the money plane is like hilarious.
There is a legend
In the underworld, those in the know, it's called a money plane. Some of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet are on that plane, all craving action. Whatever you want to wager on, the money plane has you covered. You want to bet on a dude fucking an alligator? Money plane. Untouchable by any government because the flight always takes place in international airspace. Word is they have over $1 billion in crypto on board and millions in cash. I want you and your crew to take down the house.
Can I even just walk us back? Because I have a very hard time, and I know this is a very simple plot, but understanding the plot of this movie, not the robbing of the money plane, but the catalyst that what you just described, that is a reaction to the opening of the film. The opening of the film, they go to rob a museum, which is a straight up factory. This movie is warehouse, plane, warehouse, backyard. That is it is all warehouses. That is a cement. It looks like a prison, the museum that they go into. And
Yes.
so they go in to break into this room. The painting is not there. They escape with their lives because the security
It's a
catches them.
setup.
Yeah, it's a setup, but yet there's nothing to steal, so it can't be a setup. Anyway, regardless, you can't arrest somebody for stealing something if it's not there. They didn't
Can I
do
ask
anything.
a question, Paul?
They didn't do anything. Yeah.
But here's my question.
Oh.
Why go through those lengths? Why wouldn't Kelsey Grammer just say before the art museum, just say,
Yes.
hey, I bought off all your debt. You have to do this for me.
Well, that's what I'm
why
saying.
go
That's
through-
what I don't understand. That the whole
Yeah.
movie is built on this conceit of, let's just reveal it because it'll make more sense if we talk about it the way that we know it to be true, which is Kelsey Grammer hires Adam Copeland to steal a painting, which he actually already owns. He then takes the painting out of the museum. Adam Copeland goes in there, and then there's no painting for him to steal. So then Kelsey Grammer is like, you owe me because I hired you to steal this thing, but you didn't do it. All the while he's lying to him that he didn't, but it doesn't make any sense. If it's not there, you can't, they should have done a setup where they steal the painting and then he was responsible for the painting. The fact that it's not there doesn't mean that he failed.
Sorry, I think the disconnect is the reason that Kelsey Grammer does the fake out with the painting is that so Man Bun feels as though he's failed in the job and feels beholden to do the next
But
job.
wouldn't he
right?
feel beholden if Kelsey Grammer had purchased all of his gambling debts?
I think that the point was this painting thievery was supposed to cover that. So now he's in base. It's basically
He's just further in the hole.
He's basically drawing him in one step deeper so that he does something one step more dangerous.
I understand. I do understand that, but I guess my confusion is this. If you tell me, hey, I have a lead, this car, I want you to steal this car from me. It is worth thousands, and here's where it is. And I go there to steal the car.
Wait, what kind of car is it? Is it
it's like a really
Prius?
nice, it's a really nice
It's
Prius.
like a maxed out Prius?
Yeah, with spoilers, undercarriage lights, souped up wheels. It
Nice.
should be like my Pacifica with all black, jet black, ready to ride the night.
Yeah, matte black Pacifica. I like you rolling through towns with a matte black Pacifica.
With bullet holes on it. I got those decals.
One in matte black.
I do think matte black looks cool. All right, so Helen.
You know what's amazing? I just watched RoboCop the other day. Sorry, I mentioned this,
Yeah.
I think, last week. But the cars in RoboCop, matte black. I was like, wow. Even then, this was like the future is matte black cars.
Verhoeven understands.
Paul, you do think they're good looking.
I don't. Yes. Would I drive a matte black car? No. I'm conscious enough to understand that is not a good look for
But
me.
by the way, if you want that, you should have that.
Thank you, babe. I appreciate that. June is still supporting me after I leased a car that I hated.
For years. He literally went through all this trouble to lease it, got all of the stuff together, picked out all the packages. Day one, he said he didn't like the car. I cannot go through that again.
Because of how it drove or because of how it looked?
It's a long story.
It was a long story. I basically was rushed into picking a car because of a few life things that were going on, and I didn't really give it proper thought or care. And I was kind of talked out of the one I
Is that when you
wanted.
drove a wood-paneled PT Cruiser for 3 years?
Yeah. The one that has the big decal on it says want to lose weight fast, Slim Trim, and it was a water-based diet supplement. Yeah, that was the mistake I made. But all right, so wait. So here's my issue, and this is the question that I have. So if you tell me, steal this amazing matte black car, here's the address. I go there, and the car is not there. I do not feel responsible to the person who hired me to steal the car for failing him because the information was wrong.
I think you have a great point, Paul.
I agree, except that in the world of like crime people, you are saying you told me you could do this. You failed. So now you owe me the worth of you took the job, you failed. So now you owe me the value of what you failed.
I just would have preferred, I would have preferred for them to be caught red-handed. That would have been a setup and they could have gotten it back, or they would have stole it and then Kelsey Grammer stole it back from them. There should have just been something where they lost it. It's not there.
It's clumsy for real, because all it's really meant to do is make the man bun and his team feel like now they're totally fucked. They don't have any other options, so they have to take the most dangerous job. It's a suicide. The guy, Thomas Jane, who I'm now realizing is Thomas Jane, says it's a suicide mission. You know, like you're never going to do it.
Well, but now here's an issue that that June brought up that is a bigger, June, you want to reveal, like, because I had an issue at the beginning of this plan. The money plane, what are they robbing? They're not robbing cash. They get to keep whatever is in the safe, which is cash, even though nothing on the plane is paid for in cash. So why they have a giant safe full of cash on the airplane makes no fucking sense, because literally money is not used.
It's all in digital bracelets. To me, they should have just spent their money and used all of their tech people to hack into that digital bracelet system.
They don't need to do anything. And why?
They never need to get on that plane.
Why do any of them? I mean, I guess not the woman who is impersonating a flight attendant, but why do either of the other two members participate in gambling whatsoever?
And not even participate. They're forced into they're
Man
forced
Bun's
into
job is to get to the cockpit and take control of the plane. The first thing he does, sit down and start gambling.
Well, he's got to create a cover story for himself. Yeah. He plays one game of cards on Money Plane, which is this. It seems to be like a criminal's gambling paradise. He plays one hand and he's like, oh, I gotta go lay down. And then that was his cover story. No one will suspect why he's got to lay down in the first minutes of the flight.
And he's a child trafficker. He is undercover as a human trafficker. And that everybody, the setup is the plane is full of the worst of the worst. And they can bet on whatever they want because it's international airspace.
International airspace?
Which is the most hilarious thing, which is to imagine that the mega rich and the mega wealthy are like, in order to do our really fucked up stuff, we got to go to international airspace.
But by the way, it seems to me that they're only flying over the United States or California because their other guy in the field is in a field. And by the time they're like communicating to him, it's been hours into the flight. So either that flight just goes from LA to New York, and international airspace is like, I mean,
where does
that guy was still in
international
California.
airspace begin?
I don't know. I mean, I did have a question as I was watching it, which was, if crimes are committed on the plane in international airspace, like over the Pacific or wherever, whose jurisdiction is it? The departing flights, or the departure city or the arrival city? Or just wherever you have your passport?
I mean, these are great questions. Emanuel Grouch probably knows the details.
Listen, my question is, when are we going to talk about Joey Lawrence's hair?
Oh, as a bald man, that really upsets me. I've been tracking this for a long time, as he was on a show with Melissa Joan Hart, and that's where it really started.
I thought it was supposed to be some sort of
statement?
Something like, let's actually not try and make it look natural. Let's try and make it look weird. Money Plane is run by a guy who's a real character. He shaves his head in this weird way. Like he speaks in this mannered kind of voice. this, like maybe it's a choice. I don't know.
Well, I hope
but
so.
I want to
by
go
the way,
back
that's
to
the best case scenario. He did also seem like he was wearing lip gloss, so maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he was maybe playing a character.
Okay, interesting.
But my question for you, the more important thing, June, which I'm surprised that you didn't want to dig into, is
What's up?
Paul, you said that you watched the Melissa Joan Hart, Joey Lawrence TV show. You've been, quote, tracking this for a long time because you watched the Melissa Joan Hart, Joey Lawrence TV
That
show.
didn't
Now,
strike me as odd.
that
first
is
of all,
something I would like to know a lot about.
That's just a truth.
All right. Well, first of all, everyone who knows me knows that I am a Melissa Joan Hart stan. She signed my failing math test when I was in high school, which was a real treat for me.
Your failing math test? What did you say?
Yes, because whenever you failed whenever you failed in school, you had to bring it home to have your parents sign it. And so she was dating this guy from my school. So the one day that she came to my school to see like what a real high school was like, I cornered her and got her to sign my math test, and my teacher accepted it.
I've never met anybody, including people who grew up in Los Angeles, who had more incidental interactions with celebrities during their childhood than Paul Scheer. Like it is you interacted with more celebrities before the age of 11 than I think you have currently. This is crazy.
It may be very true. Yeah, she was dating this guy who went to my high school, and he was a senior. And this is like Sabrina the Teenage Witch time, not that was Sabrina time. Oh no, Clarissa time is what I meant. That was Clarissa time. And so she came to school to see what a real school was like, and everyone was a buzz about it, and following her around and everything like that.
Do you know for sure she came to see what a real school was like?
Is that the state?
Why else was she there? She got to tag along. She got to tag along with her boyfriend the whole day. So I think it was sort of like, she wasn't there for like a talk or anything. She literally just came and hung with her boyfriend, which I went to a Catholic school, which also feels like that's an odd choice that they even let that happen. But
was she from that area? Is that why?
No, I mean, not to my knowledge. No, I don't know how she was.
Yeah, how did they?
I don't know. He was a senior and I was younger. I was like a sophomore when this happened because I had to go to the senior floor to get her to sign my test because I was like waiting for it. I was like, I'm going to get her to sign it. And everyone's like, do it. And so I ran up to her right when buses were coming. And I was like, excuse me, such a fan. Can you please sign this? And she signed it. I still have it, I think, here in the house. I literally do.
Will you find it and play and can we make a T-shirt out of that?
She signed it, Clarissa.
Wow.
Oh my God! You gotta make a T-shirt of just the test. The fail. You said it was an F.
It's a failing test. It's in my autograph book from childhood.
Great.
So I will.
Holy shit!
I kept all my. I will definitely
because I'm a little bit older. I missed all of Melissa Joan Hart and Joey Lawrence. So mostly I know Joey Lawrence through his podcast, Lake Woe Begone Days, which is really just stories that are so wonderful.
What are you talking about?
Wasn't his thing whoa? Wasn't whoa?
Yeah, whoa.
Wasn't that his catchphrase?
From Blossom,
so his podcast is Lake Woe Begone Days.
I'm appreciating it. But no, I did not watch that show, but that show is a modern remake of Who's the Boss, essentially. The Melissa Joan Hart, Joey Lawrence show. But as a bald man, sometimes you get in these bald emails and people are like, you got to check out what's going on over here. And so that's when I kind of went on a deep dive, not of the show, but of the hair, because
so
there's
you're
been
on like a bald like text chain.
Bald people will talk to each other as much as people that are losing their hair will confide to me, a bald man, about what to do. And I always say to them, I don't have the answer because I am bald.
This movie felt to me, not to move us fully off of Joey Lawrence and this segment of the show, which we are now calling the Bald Talk.
I mean, I should not have even brought you two into the bald community. Jason, you're just flaunting your man bun. You shouldn't get any of this information.
I'm so I know I feel terrible.
Yeah,
honestly,
and June,
it's not a safe space to be bald.
Listen,
this isn't a safe space for Paul, and it's not a brave space for Paul. Actually, Paul,
no.
I'd like to. I mean, we can cut this out, but I just want to state that when we started dating, that was when you officially decided to just like go bald. I mean, to start like buzzing your hair.
Yeah, and it took a lot. Look, I talk about my challenges in this world a lot, but I don't want to look to my bald friends out there, the bald community. You know the deal. So I don't need to let you into our grouping anymore. But just know that we're out there, we're strong, and we will.
And
take
I will
over
just
one
say,
day.
I'm a big supporter of the bald community, and
Thank you, June.
I love the way
You put
Paul looks.
You put your money where your mouth is.
I certainly do.
Jason, how many bald friends do you have?
Here's what I'm gonna say, and I don't want to be controversial, but I think baldness, I think it's a choice. I think you could grow hair if you wanted to.
Wow. All right, you know what? We better get off this because I'm gonna get pretty hot under the. I'm gonna get like Emanuel Darius Grouch the third here and get pretty angry.
The rumple. This movie felt to me when we are on the money plane. When we are with not just on the money plane, but every single place we are on this thing, I felt like they were either in active production on, or had just finished, or were about to begin production on a porno. Like, this felt like
1,000%.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a representative of the House, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the money plane. I am your concierge, and I am here to facilitate your every desire for action and speculation. As you know, there are no cameras on board. This is to ensure the utmost discretion. Rest assured, both you and your funds are thoroughly secure. Myself and my staff are here on board to bring you anything and everything that you desire. At this point in time, I want to introduce you to my bookkeeper, who will go over the rules of the house.
There will be no loud, aggressive behavior which might disturb another guest or crew member. There'll be no fighting, no murder, no dismemberment. Unless, of course, those things are permitted within the rules of engagement for a specific event.
this felt like the scenes that would lead up to porno scenes, you know, like that's how flat and bland and how much repetition of the plot is just we're taking over the plane and taking the money, but they restate the plot every 10 minutes.
And there's not many twists in it that is like, the plan doesn't get overly complicated. They pretty much pull it off with minimal interruption. I mean, it's not like the movie is an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, it's not like this is not Con Air here. This is not a big finale. It's like
they encounter so little pushback. They get rid of all of the bad guys almost immediately and have complete control of the plane. And so then it's a matter of now what? You know, it's so nuts.
But the thing that's funny about it is like what they are surprised about seems to be so basic. Like they've done all this research. They've looked at the schematics. By the way, the opening credits of this movie is all these like schematics and blueprints of planes, as though the plane itself has anything to do with being a money plane. It does. Yeah,
there's it's not like a special. It's like the plane is not Fort Knox, and that's the other thing that makes it a bummer. It's like it is a poorly converted airplane. Yeah.
Well, but that's what's hilarious to me about Man Bun, because he's surprised in all of the research they've done and all of their prep work. He's surprised there's a co-pilot.
I wrote that too. I mean, like, how do you not know there's a co-pilot?
Isn't there almost always a co-pilot?
I think there is, in fact, definitely always a co-pilot.
I mean, it's a giant airplane. Of course there's a fucking co-pilot. They didn't, and by the way, nobody seems to be really that good at fighting. They feel to me to be fair at fighting. Like they've gotten into a couple fights, but no one has like any real finishing moves here. Like that fight in the cockpit is a mess.
The comp for this movie is like a Fast and Furious or a Mission Impossible, right?
Yes.
They're a team that's made up of like one guy who's the hacker, one guy who's the leader / pilot in this sense. The woman is the kick-ass, badass fighter. And then the guy on the ground. I'm kind of not sure what his deal was at all. and why he was relegated to like ground duty because he didn't see it. Because that would technically be
He seemed
the
like-
tech guy.
Well, McGillicuddy, cover name,
Yeah.
McGillicuddy, one of the hardest laughs I had, that his name was McGillicuddy. McGillicuddy,
And said so frequently.
yes, he was normally the tech guy, but for this, they switched him. So I think the guy on the ground who was he was the getaway driver in the first one, and
So
McGillicuddy was the tech
his
guy.
usual job is
Yes,
like
so-
getaway and stuff like that.
Yes,
okay.
so I think they flipped it. That's why
They
he was
needed
upset.
McGillicuddy on the plane to hack the server on the plane. That's why
Right.
they needed him on the actual plane.
I
but
guess
what I
so,
couldn't
because all the cryptocurrency was there.
By the way, hacking that server was great.
What I couldn't figure out is while he's on the money plane, he has to participate in a number of horrifying gambling situations.
And he has no say. He has no say in, like, so he wins a poker game and then immediately, or I guess another man wins a poker game, and then immediately it's like, oh, now we're playing Russian roulette, and you don't have a choice. You must play Russian roulette. He's like, okay, like, he's gotta play, like, why do you have to do this?
Your winning allows you to choose the next event.
Well, you know I'm a Texan. But I can still enjoy a glass of vodka. Comrades, who wants some?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a game of Russian roulette featuring undefeated champion Mr. J.R. Crockett.
You know, at first, I thought to myself, that's a brave man. Then I realized, Mr. McGillicuddy, that's not a brave man. That is a man who's ready to die. Ready to meet his maker.
And then after he wins Russian roulette, they're like, okay, and what's your number? And he doesn't know, and he says 17, and then it's man versus Cobra. And it all comes up on a screen, and because he guesses close to 17 seconds how
But-
long the man will live, I was like, what is this?
But by the way, they didn't even have Price is Right rules, which is the closest without going over. He was the closest with going over. Like, I mean, they didn't tell him what the rules were. They didn't tell him what the games were. At one point, June and I were watching the second scene with the two men that look like two Russian men at a table on security camera, and we're like, what is this game? And we're like, 21 minutes. Yeah, what were they doing? He just slams an axe into the back of his head.
You know what I totally forgot about that is so pointless. It's so stupid. And I understand why it's there because it gives you the initial buy-in as to what kind of trouble Man Bun is in. But Man Bun's past involves being a gambling addict.
Oh, yes.
Like that he's such a gambling addict that's why he owes all these bad people money. But that doesn't come into play.
No.
That doesn't give him any expertise.
Nope.
It's not like-
on the
Nor,
gambling
by
money
the way,
play.
nor does it create any conflict for him.
Right.
He's
No,
not
it doesn't trigger
struggling
him.
with like heading back in. Okay, the craziest thing, this is what I genuinely didn't understand. McGillicuddy, first of all, McGillicuddy will never be the same after seeing what he saw. Like he's
McGillicuddy watched
traumatized
multiple
for
people die.
life.
Up
And
close.
has been a part of it. He's been like an active part of it.
Very much so.
McGillicuddy literally watched a man blow his fucking brains out a foot away from him and then is
Yes.
eating a full meal 4 minutes later. A full meal. Not upset
Yeah.
about it at all.
So, but were these themes like man versus cobra? I think someone was being eaten by like a piranha or something at one point in a
Yes.
vat, or maybe that was acid. I don't
June
know.
and I couldn't decide. And because this is the great thing with the movie, we couldn't decide whether or not it was acid or piranha because they never clearly state what you're watching, which as an audience member is confusing.
But are those themes and games set up ahead of time? Because I thought when you got on Money Plane, you could decide what you wanted to bet on.
Yeah, like you would be like, I'm a weirdo. You know what? Let me be imaginative. That's what I thought too. I thought the genesis of the games themselves would be done in person on Money Plane.
Yes.
You know?
Like they would call down, like at a certain point in the movie when they're kind of, well, we get into how they have to frame Grouch at the end because I have a lot of questions about Grouch, his framing. But like they go, okay, let's go kill Grouch. And they start taking bets on that. Like they have connections to the ground to do any sort of fight that they wanted to do. Like you would imagine they would have. I mean, by the way, when that guy is fighting the python or whatever it is, the cobra, the floor has a fucking witchcraft symbol on it. Did you notice that?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh yeah, the floor had like that the pentagram. Just like, what is this? Why are you mixing so many things?
Everything, nothing. That they were using like even when they play the first round of poker or whatever card game they're playing, they do like a full-on card montage of chips being thrown and cards being dealt and blah blah blah, but none of it tracks. It's all just it's almost like B-roll of chips hit the table, cards flip over, da 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 da. Like it almost felt like I said, a porn movie before, but it also felt like a Tim and Eric show or something like that.
It felt like
almost,
Decker,
like a parody, of something like.
Well, talking about, like, I wrote down a couple of things that all go into like that porno Tim and Eric world, which is like at one point, one of the bad guys just looks like a Ben Stiller character from the Ben Stiller sketch show. He's got like a big crazy mustache on. Then you meet another character who's just wearing a cowboy hat. And every time like he's on screen, like a little like music twang, like wow, wow, wang. And then like at one point, Joey Lawrence says a line where he goes like, we have the best pilots in the world. And I know this because I myself am a pilot. I'm like, what the fuck are we watching? What is this?
Well, but my expectations then are, well, I guess at some point Joey Lawrence is going to fly this plane. Nope.
Well, that's my question, though. When they do decide to get out of there, frame Kelsey Grammer, and take as much money as they can and transfer the crypto coin to various charities throughout the world, who's flying the plane?
Exactly. Who's flying the plane for the rest of the movie? Like the plane is just, I'm assuming, on autopilot and will eventually crash.
I mean, it's crazy because, oh, you're right. I didn't think about who's flying. And the plane is flying straight, which I guess you could maybe do with autopilot. Although it seemed like every time he wasn't touching that lever in the beginning when they were having that fight, that plane was going down. Like he needed to have his hands on it at all times.
So that's my question eventually was like, what happens to the plane and all the people on it?
I guess they're all dead.
Like including the staff?
Let me ask this question. How does Money Plane even make money? Because there's only about 10 people on Money Plane.
Well, I'm sure they take a commission. They take some percentage of these bets.
But even, I mean,
I wonder if there are also like an auction, if there are bets coming in on the phone.
Well, God, if that's the case, I would never get on that plane.
But can I ask one more rug pulling out question? Why do you need to do it in the air? Because it's not legal anyway. So why couldn't you just do this in a warehouse?
Oh, everybody. Yeah.
That's so true. Yes. It's like, here's the thing that it's all happening. Cash is not being exchanged up there. It's all digital.
Yeah, there's no reason though for it to be in the air.
Here's the thing: a lot of the actual crimes are happening not in international space. Only the wagering is happening in international air. The actual murders, are all happening. I don't know, in warehouses. In that same, I love it. Like they tried to do like that Fast and the Furious, like the team meets in the warehouse beforehand, and in the Fast and Furious, like the warehouse is like kitted out with like all their cars and tools and all their computers and the hacker setup and blah, blah, blah. These guys have a single wooden box that our team is standing around a single wooden box in an enormous, otherwise empty hangar. Like they had all of the visual language, but none of the props, none of the dialogue, nothing. Everybody says every line has fewer than 7 words, and nobody says more than 3 lines at a time.
Again, it was the saddest team. I thought McGillicuddy was the best of the bunch, but it was truly the saddest team I have ever seen. And the leather jacket on the woman, I mean, all of it was just so tough.
Now that I know it's Thomas Jane, which, again, I'm going to go back to this because, Thomas Jane, I believe there is a degree of public knowledge that he is a bit of an oddball, right? So now it makes total sense. Yes.
What's he up to?
There was some story about like he wants to always be barefoot during all of his characters.
Yes.
His characters, he's always barefoot. He's always barefoot. He wants them to be barefoot, blah, blah, blah. And it makes now sense because I noted it a number of times. I was like, this actor, not knowing it's Tom Jane, but now that I do, it's for sure certain. He was like, you know what I think? I think my guy smokes a pipe. My
Well,
guy definitely smokes a pipe.
I don't want to drop.
In
I don't want to drop
multiple
two celebrity
scenes-
encounters on you, but the one time I did run into Thomas Jane was
Wait,
it
what?
dealt with him smoking. Yeah.
Was that a pipe shop?
Well, it was kind of like so.
Are
I
you
was
part
in-
of a pipe club?
I have dealings in the pipe world. Yes, because a lot of my bald friends are also pipe entrepreneurs and stuff like that.
Are you a subset of the bald community? Is bald pipe smokers?
Yes, I'm in a Shark Tank for pipe accoutrement, tobacco sales and things like that. So
Wow.
I was in Las Vegas, and I was going through the Hard Rock in Las Vegas, and it smelled so bad, and I was like, God, I was with like two other people. I was like, this is like, what is going on here? This place smells like shit. And we're like, it's that guy. And we look up, and there's a man sitting on a banquette in the middle of the casino floor. Like he's elevated way above everybody else, no shoes on, smoking a cigar and riding the banquette like a fucking horse and being super loud. And it was Thomas Jane, his naked feet, smoking a cigar that stunk up the whole, like, a casino. I've never been in a casino where I'm like, oh, that is the stink, is Thomas Jane riding a fucking banquette. So I think like cigars and pipes are big to him because
Okay.
yeah, I
And
think that
bare
the- yeah.
feet. And I want to
Yeah.
be on record. I do not like feet. I think feet are gross. I think we should cover them up. Wrap it up, Thomas Jane. Nobody wants to see your feet.
I appreciate all of that. I want to talk about the flashback to Darius Grouch. I know I keep on going back to Kelsey Grammer. Kelsey Grammer, like, literally after they have a full scene where he tells them the plan, our lead, Adam Copeland, is in an airplane 5 minutes later and sees the scene again, which he's not in. It's just him doing the monologue of the scene in a different room.
Yeah, that's how they have to find new ways to recap the movie, including showing you scenes from earlier in the movie. Like this
But they didn't
was
even show you a
wild.
scene earlier. They reshot the scene with him not in it. So his memory of
Yeah.
it or his nightmare of it. Oh, yeah, because he's not even in the plane.
Yeah,
This is when
because he's
sleeping
lying
with his
in bed,
wife.
reimagining that whole scene from Kelsey Grammer's point of view. The best line of the movie is when Kelsey Grammer says to his henchman, "Hold on, P. Roach." I was like, what? What is going on right now?
This
Kelsey
movie
Grammer is
insane.
A++ in this movie. I don't care what you say.
I think Kelsey Grammer should win an Oscar for this.
He is bringing the heat. I did do a little bit of
Listen,
research.
it's going to be a really weird Oscar year this year because so few movies got released. I think he's got a shot. Why does the guy on the ground, when he has his knife out, peel a full banana?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Why does he peel?
that.
Let me ask you this to our audience. When you eat a banana, do you peel the entire thing at once and then just hold the bare banana? No.
Never.
You use the peel as the holder.
It's a burrito wrapper. That's what you use
It's
a banana peel
bizarre.
for.
I don't understand the man on the ground at all. He is extraneous and is pointless in this movie.
Well, here's what I don't understand. The ending. So I was trying to really figure out what was the device that in the end we find out through yet another flashback that Man Bun has put under Kelsey Grammer's table. What was that? Just a tracking device so he could send people there
No,
to
I think
kill?
it was I genuinely believe it was just a mic pack. I think it's a microphone so that he could hear whatever.
Oh.
That's why
But
he's
that's
able
not how
to.
But that's not
That's-
how he figured it out.
I think that's how he's able to know. Like when we were talking earlier about when he knows what Kelsey Grammer said, even when he wasn't there. I think he knows what Kelsey Grammer said because he mic'd that table.
But
Yeah, but
okay, if that's the case, then why get phone calls from Thomas Jane, who's the one who reveals all the information? Wouldn't he know it?
Good question. I'm not sure, but that I believe is what I think we're meant to believe that's a bug. You know, like he's bugged him.
But by the
'Cause
way,
it's not about.
it's giant. If you know
It's
anything
not
about a mic
tracking
pack,
him.
yeah, well,
It's
because
not
his house
tracking
is
him,
not
yeah.
moving. But it's like this is where the movie falls apart because it's. I mean, It's so tightly constructed. This isn't really, I mean, I know we don't have Tenet in the theaters, but we do have this, which I'm excited about. But the idea that he was aware enough to put a mic pack there, but didn't recon it like, why at that moment? Because it didn't seem like he really caught on to it until much, much later.
Yeah, we never, well, I think the reason, frankly, I think that is because the movie would lose its stakes. If we the audience know he has a bug, we don't have the tension of their inevitable double cross, which happens, you know.
So I'm actually going to give Joey Lawrence's brother more credit. I don't think it was a bug. I think it was just a tracking device, so that they could locate exactly where he was.
But he's always in the same place. He's exactly where they met.
He's in a modest house. A modest house in Los Feliz. A very modest.
They would have had to have moved that table. That would assume like, oh, we got to get you out of here, sir. Let's get you and your outdoor dining room table onto the helicopter.
Well, you see how much he cares about the terracotta floors. He does. I mean, that terracotta floor stuff seemed improvised. So I feel like. That was so funny. My favorite part of this movie was there's a moment where he's first meeting Adam Copeland, Jack Reese, and he's kind of confronting him. And as he's talking to him, he's like, you lost my painting, XYZ. And he goes, I should make a fucking painting of you right now by blowing your head off. And as he's saying that, one of his henchmen puts a canvas behind the back of his head. And he goes, I'll make a Pollock right now. And I was like, this is my favorite shit of like bad guy movies where it's like the talking of that, buy me a canvas. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to say this thing. I'll be talking to him and I'll say, I'll blow your head. And when I say that, you have to bring the canvas behind his head. And then that will just for the effect. Like, I just love like that, like those conversations of like
the hour beforehand, like an hour before Man Bun gets here, we have to have a meeting so we understand exactly the beats. What would have been cool is if you looked up and on the wall was like 10 bloody bullet paintings so that you knew the rumple means business.
The grumble knew what was up, but like that to me, and then the guy then has to like kind of sheepishly walk away. He goes like, yeah, I'll blow your head off. And he's like, go back. And then, that guy's like, okay, I'll put it back. I hope I did a good job. I did the canvas thing, but
That's, by the way, P. Roach, just in case you're wondering. Yes. P. Roach. Because I watched it with closed captioning and was crying laughing. This movie.
So what did closed captioning say about Grouch versus Grumble?
Ooh, that's a good question. I gotta look back. I think I'll look it up. Okay. I don't remember.
But now how did the end actually happen? Because I said to June multiple times, like, what, like, so what, like, basically he plays a recording and goes, I'm Darius Grumble and I'm gonna rob the money plane. But and then immediately Joey Lawrence is like, let's kill him. Like, but it was like, but he's not, he hasn't. It's sort of like, well, I didn't understand like how that was like, how that indicted him or made him guilty.
He basically, I think it's that he kind of disrespects them and says, I'm above you and I'm going to rob and I'm stealing I'm bigger. I'm the biggest. I think the whole idea is the money plane, and this isn't true at all, is full of the baddest of the bad, like human traffickers, drug cartel leaders, or whatever cowboy hat guy is. I don't know. But like arms dealer. I think he's an arms dealer. Everybody's like the baddest of the bad. And Kelsey Grammer's out there being, I'm the baddest of the bad and I'm going to steal, so that everybody's like, you know what? You don't get away with that. And they put a price on his head.
Got it.
But that requires that Man Bun is planning this double cross all along. Meanwhile, Kelsey Grammer also, in the most bizarre way, in an effort to keep him in the movie more, wants to be on FaceTime with Man Bun
the whole time
throughout the movie, whether it's on a laptop in the cockpit or an iPhone duct taped to the plane and other planes. He's like, it's like somebody who's like so needy And it's like, well, no, don't hang up yet. Like, I still want to chat.
He likes using code names. Like there's a fun-loving sense to Darius Grouch III that I feel like we could explore in another film, although he Scarfaces it out at the end. We don't even see him get assassinated. We just see him pull up a large gun and go, ah, with CGI bullets flying. And we don't even get to see him fall, which is great for their sequel, because I would like to see, Darius Grumble continue his saga.
My favorite scene is when Man Bun is saying goodbye to his family and he reads his daughter a bedtime story. He's sitting on the edge of her bed.
Oh my God.
His wife comes in.
Denise
the
Richards.
daughter is there. And he says to his wife, they're just sitting there right on her bed. She's amazing, isn't she?
Oh, by the way, that kid goes to sleep within, I think that kid is a narcoleptic, because she
instantly asleep. Her parents have a full volume conversation. Her parents have a full volume conversation about her while sitting on her bed.
And she's out for the count. I mean, she's like me.
Amazing. She's amazing, isn't she? I was like, what the fuck is this movie?
I mean, and Denise Richards also says a line which is so great. Like, so basically he meets Darius Grouch. Darius is like, you got to rob the casino plane. I'll give you 1 day to prep for it. And then Denise Richards says like a line where she's like, I can't believe you have to leave with such short notice. Like this is a man who's a career criminal. Like, what does she care about the notice? Like, what notice? What do you mean short notice?
And they have like a brief chaste hug. And then she says, we're going to pick this up later. And I was like, wait, was that hug like supposed to be like, oh, we're about to get sexual? Because it was like very brief and like sexless in its.
Denise Richards was like, I'll do the movie, but I will not kiss her lead.
I have to say, at the very end, when they're reunited in that strange backyard with like different landings and a woodshed and then a pool and a dog. But when they are there together, both of them with their hair down, it is too much hair.
Yeah.
In one shot. It is
Thank you, Jen.
way too much.
As a man who has long hair, I agree. It was too much.
It was.
By the way, the final reveal, which is not even really worth getting into, is like after they've killed Darius Grouch, they steal back the painting and now they're going to sell it. And that's how they're going to make their money, by stealing the original thing they were going to steal because it actually belonged to Darius Grouch. It's revealed that Thomas Jane has like found a lead on this stolen painting for them to get so much money. But then when they show where the painting is, it's in his backyard, leaning up against a wood pile that you would have for firewood, uncovered, unprotected, just in the backyard.
This is a $40 million painting. That this is how little the movie trusts that you're going to put together what has happened, is that Man Bun, who has stolen the original painting finally, that he was supposed to steal at the beginning. We haven't seen it happen, but we know he has stolen it. And it is outside next to him while he's on the phone, so that like, oh, he has it's like, this movie assumes that the audience watching it is fucking morons, because every 10 minutes they recap the plot. The lines are basically the same lines over and over. I got to get to the guy says, I got to get to the cockpit like 4 times in 2 minutes. It's so weird.
Oh my gosh.
And ultimately, listen, I hate talking about a person this way, but Man Bun is so big. He's too tall for the screen. Like the scene where he's fighting the co-pilot, there's just, it's almost comical how big both of these men are in a tiny space. And when he's in a shot with another person, it's just so odd. There's not an Apple box you can get on that's ever going to make it look okay.
The scenes where he's flying the plane literally felt to me like I was watching Airplane. Like it felt like a spoof.
Absolutely.
Like the comedy Airplane.
It felt like it was purposefully like a spoof movie. Like it made, like Con Air. Like we actually have a comp for this in our pantheon, Con Air, the mission is take control of the plane, blah, blah, blah. And, like it's a lot of struggle and a lot of steps to do it. All he has to do is elbow a guy in the face. And there's so much just immediate kind of like resolution of the plan, like boom. And then a co-pilot. And then he clobbers him a couple of times and now fully in control. And the same, they have to, McGillicuddy and the woman, what's the woman's name who is under their muscle, the not Gina Carano badass. They fill a black duffel bag full of money that they have. Their action in 3 different scenes is to pick it up, move it 3 feet, and put it down. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all they do. They leave it here, then they go back to what they're doing, then they come back, they move it 3 feet this way, they leave it there. It's hilarious how the full scenes accomplish absolutely nothing.
It's so crazy.
Oh my God.
You know,
I did love them all jumping out of the plane.
Oh, yes.
but they also so they can't all carry that cash, right? Or did they not take any of that cash because it's criminal
They didn't
cash?
take any of it. That was the whole thing. They just,
They Robin Hooded it.
yeah. I mean, the crazy thing is the fact that they were able to transfer all that money to charities all across the world in no less than 1 click
Like through Bitcoin.
through Bitcoin.
Through Bitcoin.
But there was
like
no
it's a
looking up
cryptocurrency.
anyone's number or checking that this is the right account or he made that idea was hatched and it was transferred within 10 seconds.
It takes me more clicks to get on this podcast than it did for him to transfer like $1 billion in Bitcoin to every version of
UNICEF.
worldwide.
Yeah, using basically the most basic of tools, like an iPad and an iPhone brought down everything with like a USB hub. It's so crazy. Obviously, we have opinions about this movie, but now it is a chance for second opinions. But wait a second. There are no real second opinions about this movie. This movie just came out, and they're not really worthy of reading, but I will just kind of give you an overview of them. But I actually have something instead, which I think will be a lot of fun. So far, there are only 7 reviews, so 38% are 5 stars. You have things just like, hey, I love that Frasier was in this movie. Adam Lawrence is the best. He should be nominated for Best Director. I can't tell if they're real, if they're facetious, but what I do have, this is actually found by Nate Kiley, is some details about the filming of this movie that I think will help a lot of us here kind of get to the bottom of this. So basically, when they were making this movie, they did not finish the plane set. First of all, they didn't even have a plane set. They heard about a plane in Nashville. They ran down there to start shooting this movie in Nashville on this plane set, and they could only shoot into corners because the plane wasn't done right. So a lot of the movie, the reason why you're up against those screens is just because they didn't have a set built. And this movie was the producers came up with this movie after playing Casino War, which is a game of chance in a Las Vegas casino where you just play war against the dealer. It's not even blackjack. It's like you have an 8.
Oh,
the
so
dealer
it's like
has
a super basic game. Yeah.
Yep, that's how that came up. And then this is the best one I love. So Kelsey Grammer says, I'm always drawn to guys who are a bit over the top. This is one of those characters. I don't mind the comparisons to Sideshow Bob. He is one of arguably the greatest villains of all time. So he considers himself, this is an homage to Sideshow Bob. And then this is the best thing about shooting Kelsey Grammer. They had to shoot him all on a Sunday morning super early. And there was a guy mowing his lawn over the fence, and there was a dog. So basically, Kelsey had to do all these monologues trying to get through them before a dog barked or someone finished mowing the lawn.
I was going to say, did he have to ADR his whole thing? But
there's a couple of moments where it looked like he was ADR.
Yeah.
But overall, I have to say, for an hour and 20 minutes, I appreciate a movie that knows its place. I enjoyed every bit of it. It was insane. It was stupid. It was big. I would recommend people see this movie. I don't know. I had a great time watching it.
Yeah, me too, Paul. I mean, it was just, it's quite a ride. It amounts to less than nothing, but the journey is enjoyable and outrageous.
It is. Yes, I agree. It is. I was laughing so hard while watching this because I knew nothing about it. I just received an email saying, watch Money Plane. And I was like, oh, I'm already in.
Yeah.
And so
And I received one that said, watch Monkey Planet.
Yes. So every reveal for me was like, whoa, what? I'm sorry. It was more like, whoa, what?
I mean, that's how I felt. I mean, it was like I had heard about it, but I did not know. anything about. I thought it was a sequel to Money Train, the Woody Harrelson, Wesley
that's
Snipes
right.
movie where they robbed the MTA train full of money. I was like, oh, maybe this is like a direct to DVD sequel or something like that.
Or like Hurricane Heist or any of these kind of like whatever. I didn't realize it. So all that being said, through just the nature of pure discovery, it was delightful because this is truly a very bad movie, a very boring movie, I should say. It is slow and plodding, and nobody can sell the tension or the stakes of what's happening at all.
They literally in the Russian roulette scene, they're playing comedy music underneath Russian roulette, like
the fight scenes, there's no good fight choreography. Everything is slow. The action scenes are boring. There are no good set pieces, which is what you would expect from one of these kind of Ocean's 11 heist kind of heist gone wrong, hurricane heist, like I said, not Geostorm, but those type of
You have a
movies.
motherfucking wrestler as your centerpiece. He should be able to body slam at least one person.
He basically doesn't fight at all.
He just has that like tussle in the cockpit, and his right hand woman in the film, who has one of my favorite scenes of the whole thing. Like, he's playing a child trafficker, or that's the identity he's taking on. And they're like, well, what happened to that guy? He's like, well, she had a run-in with him last year. And the child trafficker is sitting in a parking lot in a parked car. She pulls up, shoots him in the head, and that's it. Like, it's not cool at all the way that she kills this guy, like rocking out to tunes in his car.
Okay,
but
just because we've mentioned her a bunch, her name is Katrina Norman.
Yes.
And she has the most kick-ass moments in the movie.
Absolutely.
She is the muscle. And so, even though it's not like the greatest fight choreography you've ever seen, she at least has some fun takedowns and some fun kind of like hand-to-hand stuff that all happens within the confines of the money plane.
I mean, and that basically in that one hallway. And I do have some issues with her because obviously Katrina was on she was on Castle, and people who listen to this podcast know that I want to be the new Castle. So there was a
Is
part
the hashtag Sheer for Castle still trending?
I mean, it hasn't stopped. I got an email from Twitter, or I should say I got a gift basket.
You got an email from Twitter?
Yeah, they sent me like, we've never had anything trend this long. And I said, well, when America wants something, they are pretty adamant about it. So, the whole, the Rona is kind of hitting everything in its stride. So the Castle reboot is not fully functional yet, but I assume once we get out of this,
maybe you could, I would be in complete support of is you taking an episode of Castle and doing a live read on Zoom where you get to play Castle, and just as a proof of concept for
yes.
the people.
I think you're right,
for
Jason.
the people, for the powers that be, do a Zoom table read of an episode of Castle.
I think it's right. I think it's right, and I think it's about time that we do this.
And it's time. That's the thing. It's time. Because everybody's moved on, right? Castle's not on the air anymore.
No, he's already
Nathan Fillion is the rookie now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's done multiple series. So we're ready to go. Jason, if you would join me as playing Javier Esposito, and June, if you would join me, join me as playing Kate Beckett, I think we got this thing wrapped up.
It would be an honor.
Listen, guys, if we can do this, the Castle cast is up and running.
All right, so
every week we don't talk about an episode of Castle. We do a dramatic reading of that episode's script. That's a podcast.
Oh,
come on, guys.
I'm in. I am in.
Castlecast.
Besides promoting Castlecast, do you two have anything you want to promote? Tell people about, check out, anything like that?
Yes, I will do a quick plug for the Jane Club, the space and community that I founded, and the recent Connected Jane membership that we've launched to take.
And June,
yes?
Can I just interrupt? I just want to be very clear. The Jane Club has nothing to do with Thomas Jane,
Nothing to
right?
do with Thomas Jane, no.
Not related to Thomas Jane, not named after Thomas Jane.
Well, wait a second. Are you talking about the new Thomas Jane or the old Thomas Jane?
Any Thomas Jane. Is any Thomas Jane related to the Jane Club? I just want to be clear.
No, Jason. Complete coincidence.
Thank you.
I
Please
promise.
continue.
Yes. So if anyone's interested in the Jane Club and the Connected Jane online experience, it's $50 a month, and you can head to janeclub.com and use my special code InsiderJaneFF for $10 off your first month.
And June, like what's going on there is like there are like it's basically like a place to hang out online because we can't go into like real spaces. There's so much great stuff going on there.
Yeah, I mean, more than hang out with, there's tons of programming throughout the day. We do daily meditations together, writing workshops. There's tons of stuff for kids, music classes. Paul hosts a talent show for the kids on Fridays. We do teach-ins on justice and race and gender and tons of educational experiences. So it's a really robust, incredible community that's part school, part bar, part spa. It's all the things, and it's just been a real lifesaver during this time.
And what about you, Jason?
The movie that I was in that came out last year called The Long Dumb Road has just come on to Netflix right now. So if you want to see myself and Tony Revolori in a kind of shaggy road trip movie, written and directed by the fantastically talented Hannah Fidel and co-written by Carson Mell. It's on Netflix now, and also I'm a voice in the new HBO Max animated series called Close Enough from
You're so
JG.
funny in that.
Oh, thanks. It's the same folks that did the regular show, JG Quintel and all those folks. Really funny, family animated show, but definitely R-rated. So it's that's a blast. And I also want to say, and I think we texted about this, but last week on the mini, we misidentified the name of the Thirst Aid Kit podcast that I was on. So I just wanted to make sure our listeners are going to the right place to hear that episode. It's called the Thirst Aid Kit. The hosts are Nicole and Bim, and it's a great podcast. So I just wanted to correct that from last week.
And I will say one other thing that's important to hear or understand is Jason and I, if you have HBO Max, you can actually watch us on the Chris Gethard show, the episode where Chris sabotaged us live on air and gave us total control of his show for an episode. It was completely improvised and impromptu, and it was awesome. So
and
now that has a
on
place
live television.
And on live television.
He abandoned us without telling us. He abandoned us for an hour on live television. And it is, I will say, it is one of my two favorite things I've ever done. Were both with you, Paul, on
so
Chris
fun.
Gethard's show. But the One Man's Trash episode, which is the dumpster episode, which is available on YouTube, and the one that you just mentioned called Show Us Your Pets,
so if you have
which is
HBO
on
Max,
HBO Max.
Go deep dive in there. And also this week I was on the Anna Faris podcast, Unqualified. Fun to see her again, and always a trip to see what she's up to and interested in. This has been a pleasure. Another How Did This Get Made in Quarantine? And it couldn't be done without our amazing team that is behind our Zooms, making sure this sounds great. That is our producer, Cody, Avril Halley for picking this film, Molly Reynolds for organizing all the things behind the scenes, Devin, our engineer, Nate Kiley for doing all of our research, and July for listening through, finding all the moments, trimming all the fat, doing all the hard work, and everybody at Earwolf, thank you so much for listening. Also, the Ghost of Craig T. Nelson, thank you for all your brilliant designs. And Kyle Waldron, you can always head over to the TeePublic store to check out all of our amazing shirts. Our charity shirt is now down, but we raised over almost $8,000 in charity shirts there, so that was amazing. And our Gish and Gersh shirt paid for over 800 meals, so pretty amazing all across the board. And Gish and Gersh is still raising money now that charity has changed, but really fun stuff. So head over to tpublic.com/store/HDTGM. Bye for now.